Hello, hello, Angel here. Thank you for stopping. And if you're new to my channel, thank you for, for being here. Okay, so it's the end of April. How did that happen? Where did this month go? And it's almost May. We're almost halfway through the year. Time flies by when you're having fun, does it not? So being the end of April, I really wanted to reflect back on the things that have been feeding my soul and filling my cup this month. So with that in mind, we're going to jump straight in with these three beautiful decks. Now, these are the three decks that I've been using, I would say the most actually this month. I'm part of Dawn Michelle's Weavers group, and I've been using these for the monthly medicine, and these decks have been rocking my world. Should I tell you what they are? I think I should, because I haven't mentioned that yet. This is the Messenger Oracle. This is the Tarot at the End of the Rainbow, and this is the Luminal Spirits Oracle. Now this I've had quite a long time. This I've had quite a while. This was a new deck, and I've had this in my basket for quite a while, and I've been trying to be really good and not purchase anything because I'm on a low buy year and deep dive in the decks I have. And I finally pressed the buy button on this one, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Let me just show you the edging. I edged it in like rainbow colours, which I absolutely adore. And these three have just been amazing. I've so enjoyed it. I've drawn this card, or this from this deck, I've drawn a card, and then built the message with this tarot deck around the card. And then I've used this deck as a like clarifier almost at the end of the reading. And it's been amazing. Honestly, it's been so amazing that I don't want to put these decks down, and they're going to be rolling over to May. To the May deck choices that I use. So with that in mind, I've also been adding in as an extra layer these beauties. Now I've already shown these on my channel. I purchased these from eBay, secondhand, hashtag secondhand treasures, and these are story cubes, which you roll the dice, and you start with once upon a time, and then whatever symbols show up, you make a story out of them. And I just saw these and thought these would be great for divination. Let's see if I can get them all into focus here so you can kind of see some of the symbols. And these have got like fantasy symbols on them. I have another set which I also bought from eBay secondhand, which have like I'm going to say like mundane symbols on them, and I use them in the same way. So what I do is I build my spread, and then I cast the dice over the cards, and whichever dice land on the cards, they're the dice that I read, and the ones around that aren't touching the cards, I tend to move away. But it just adds a really excellent level to the reading. This deck as well has some references to runes. So I've also been inspired to get my runes back out. These are the runes I purchased right at the beginning of my practice, and I used them quite a lot when I first got them, and then they kind of have been put away and having a bit of a rest. And so I was really inspired to get these back out again when I saw some of the runes appearing in the tarot cards. So same again, I round off my reading with one rune when I pull. That I pull, sorry. So this has also been really fun. So the dice, the runes, and these three decks, chef's kiss. They have been super duper fantastic, and I have enjoyed every single reading with them. Let's take off more cards. I think I mentioned before, I have a tarot card that sits next to me, and I tend to change out my decks every month. However, I do have my standard favourites that sit, beside me in that cart, and these are going to be added to the standard favourites because I want to have them close by so that I can pull them, quite often. Because I love them, they're fantastic. Anyway, that was those ones, that was those decks. We're moving along. Let's see if I can move these out of the way. I've got quite a few decks to show you, and I have been using a lot of decks this month. I've also been playing with pairs this month, and usually I don't play with my decks. I tend to do like proper spreads with my decks, and I don't want to say serious work, but I don't just tend to get my cards out and play with them. And this month I decided that was what I was going to do. So I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to do a mismatch of 2 tags. The first tag is #TagYourIt. That's the VR2 Candy Soul and Soil, with a mismatch or mashup of Playing with Pairs, a VR2 Dawn Michelle. That's coming soon, so keep your eye out for that. I don't want to show all the decks in this video, otherwise it's going to be a long video. Okay, so that was that. The next decks I'm going to show you is the decks I've been using for my Deacon Walk. I've been loving my Deacon Walk, la 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 la, and I've been really enjoying all the videos that I've been seeing on YouTube. I do enjoy them. I do have a journal for that Deacon Walk. This is it. It's cheap as chips, just dead. It's just black, dead basic. And I'm going to show you my other journals that I've made this month. And this one really feels really boring, so I'm going to have to revamp it because this just it's not lighting my candle. Anyway, sorry, that was me digressing. Why are the cards upside down? What's going on here? What's going on here? What is going on? Everything's upside down and inside out. Is that a song? Upside down and inside out. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I've had 2 cups of coffee today and I clearly needed less or more. I'm not sure. Let's just centre. Let's just gather ourselves. Apologies if you're feeling, you know, this up and down energy through the video. I'm going to try and contain myself. Okay, so this one. This is this tarot deck. Same again. Oh, I purchased it recently because I was naughty and it really was talking to me, speaking to me. It was like, Angel, buy me. And I bought it. This is the Animal Apothecary deck. Love this deck. I love the colours in it. And I love it because I kid you not, this is so versatile. This is one of my most versatile Oracle decks in my collection. It goes with anything. It's so good, and I really enjoy the guidebook. Anyway, sorry, getting back to this one, I've edged mine in black. Excuse me. Now I'm going to say that I don't generally buy these kind of decks, and by that I mean these very photorealistic decks, or wait, what am I trying to say here? I do really like collage decks, and I have quite a few collage decks. However, this deck has a lot of, I'm going to explain it and then apologise by the way I'm explaining this, but I'm going to say that for me this deck has a lot of masculine energy in it, a lot of masculine energy, and you know, I don't want to say, I'm not going to say, what am I trying to say? I'm going to say that I don't know what I'm doing. Do you see? I can't even flip the cards correctly today. I feel I'm going to have to refilm this because we're all over the place. What's this we? Me, I'm all over the place. Okay, getting out to this one. I really felt drawn to it. I tend to work with decks that are very strongly feminine orientated, or I'm going to say dominated in inverted commas by female energy. I tend to shy away and stay away from decks that have this kind of male energy in the cards. You know, this kind of full-on masculine feel, because I find it threatening. I'm going to be honest, I find it threatening, and that's because of the baggage that I have from previous experiences in my life. So this to me is like, it's quite triggering, I find, and this kind of thing as well. Anyway, so I'm really happy that I felt drawn to this deck, and I really enjoy working with this deck because I have been doing a lot of healing work with the masculine and the way I feel about the male species. And I feel that this is kind of proof in the pudding by, you know, being drawn to this kind of deck and working with this kind of deck. I feel that, you know, hopefully I'm, you know, taking a bit of a step forward. And hopefully my healing work is starting to pay off. Anyway, that was a long old explanation, wasn't it? I'm going to just say that I think these are fantastic. I really enjoy them. And I've really enjoyed them for my Deca walk and the Aries season. And yeah, I'm not sure what else I can say about those. These are going to have a bit of a rest because obviously now we're in Taurus season. Love the backs. Did I show the backs of these ones? Gorgeous. Hashtag colour me happy. Colour me very happy. I'm always happy when I see a bit of colour. Okay, so that was that one. Then I'm going to talk about these three, which are also I'm going to say a pairing that I've been using. Now, I mentioned on the VR that I did to Lisa Papez, hashtag 21 Tarot Questions, I think it was called, about this deck. This is the Wild Unknown, this is the Guardian Tarot, and this is the... bear with me, this is the Faceted Garden Oracle. So, in the Lisa Papez video, I mentioned that I hadn't worked with the Wild Unknown video. The Wild Unknown deck. However, I felt very curious to purchase it because everyone had been talking about it. Got it in, didn't work with it. You know, it kind of has gone into my tarot shelf, or onto my tarot shelf. And yeah, and that's been fine. You know, I tend to work my decks when I feel called to them. Anyway, roll forward, I don't know, 7-8 months or something like that. And maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I was out on one of my walks, and I've been feeling really drawn to Birch. I feel synchronicities with Birch coming into my readings, and just generally in life, as it were. Anyway, so I've been out on my walks, and I've been looking at the birch trees as I was on my walk, and taking some pictures. And when I came back home again, I was looking at the pictures on my phone. I was looking at the line work, or not the line work, sorry, the patterns of lines on the birch tree. And this deck suddenly jumped into my brain. And it suddenly struck me that this deck might be perfect to tap into that birch tree energy. I know, it all sounds very bizarre. I do appreciate that. But the lines gave me a whole birch bark feel. Then I started, you know, taking a look around on my tarot shelf, my oracle shelves, and this one, I mean, obviously it's a no-brainer. You know, we've got the spirits, the tree spirits almost, and yeah. So I did a basic reading. I asked each of the decks if they wanted to work with the other one, and I'm going to put the reading that came out on that from those questions. And so since then I've been working with these 3 decks. Now I haven't, you know, got a fixed practice in place. I don't know where this combination of decks in conjunction with the birch trees and the energy I want to tap into is going. I can't say that just now because I haven't not perfected the practice, but it's too new to kind of explain where it's going. However, I have been trying to tap into the birch tree energy, or tree energy generally, with these 3 decks, and I've been getting some really fantastic readings. So it's looking really, really promising. And my plan tomorrow is to, you know, go out into the woods with just this deck, and you know, make my acquaintance with a birch tree and do some readings. A little bit hesitant, I've got to say, about going out in, outside in public with a tarot deck, I have to say. But I'm just going to try and be discreet. I'm not going to, stand there, with my tarot cards up in the air, pulling cards willy-nilly here and there. I'm going to be discreet and, hopefully out in the woods, no one's going to be wondering what I'm doing out there with a tarot deck. Anyway, it all sounds very vague. I do apologise, but as I mentioned, it's all still so very, very new, and I don't really know where it's leading me. But I just, as I said, I've been getting some really interesting readings with the combination of these 3. So watch this space. On my next reflection video, I maybe can tell you some more. But just now, I'm really, really happy to to be using these decks that I haven't felt possibly drawn to previously, or that have just been sitting resting on my tarot shelf. It's really nice to get them out, get them aired, and be getting some really good readings with them. So that's that practice. The next practice I'm going to talk about is this new practice, which I also started last month, or sorry, sorry, we're still in May, April, sorry, this month, sorry. So I'm going to start this by saying that I had filmed a decks on the chopping block video, which I didn't post, but this deck, which is the Lorenzi Tarot, was in that video. This deck is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. I've edged mine in gold. Anyway, so I did a walkthrough on my channel for this video. Oh, sorry. I did a walkthrough on my channel for this deck, and I felt really irritated with this deck. That sounds awful, but I did. Once I'd done the walkthrough, I felt irritated because although I really enjoyed the artwork, a lot of the details in the artwork was repeated again and again and again. And if you want to see that video, you're very welcome to go back and take a look. So I was irritated by it, I have to say. And it kind of put me off working with the deck, which sounds really naughty. This also is repeated very, very often through the deck. The same with the hearts and the same with the clock, which are going to come up in a minute, you'll see. Anyway, so I didn't feel really drawn to it with it at all. I felt really quite frustrated, actually, and irritated by the fact that the details were repeated again and again and again. So this was on my chopping block, and I was really seriously thinking about rehoming it, which I don't tend to do. I am really the kind of person that feels that if they've been drawn to buy a deck, they will at some point be drawn to work with the deck. So it doesn't matter if, you know, I've had these decks 6 months, 8 months, a year and a half. I'm ready to be, you know, I'm quite willing to be patient and wait until they speak to me to be worked with. Anywho, so I got this deck out and I was looking at it, and I've been really wanted to include more poetry into my spell work and just into my practice generally. And actually, this was the first card I pulled. Anyway, let's stop on this one. Anyway, so I decided to, you know, get my finger out and, you know, just jump in and start, you know, writing some poetry. Because, you know, if you don't do it, you don't know if you're any good at it, do you? That's my theory. So I made this little journal. It's like dead basic. This was an Amazon envelope, and I've used some packaging paper. I did some decoupage on it and threw some acrylic paint on it, which I love, and even some oil, what's it called? Oil pastels, I want to say. And I just, like, you know, just went to town on it. And then I covered it in Mod Podge glitter glue. Obviously painted with green acrylic. And this is just packaging paper. So I've already written some poetry in here, which I'm not going to show you because, you know, I'm totally not a poetry writer. I'm just, you know, practicing and having fun. So that's my practice with this. So what I do is, and what I did do is I decided, I just felt suddenly drawn. I think I was looking through the deck, and actually I don't even know why I was looking at this deck. I don't know why. And it was previous to making this as well. I was just looking through the deck and I came upon this card. And that thought of me wanting to, you know, bring poetry into my practice suddenly dawned on me. And I thought, well, yeah, you know, how about using this deck as poetry prompts? You know, to prompt, you know, to intuitively prompt me to write about a card. So I shuffled the deck and came upon this card. And I can't remember the card that I picked from this one. Anyway, oh sorry, shuffled and received from this deck. But that's what I did. I used, you know, one of these cards from this deck and this, and, you know, worked with them intuitively and wrote about the things that the cards drop in me. You know, the emotions or the feelings that I got, or the messages that I feel that I got from the images. And it was a really, really great combination. And I've done that several times since then. So I'm so, so glad that I didn't, you know, rush to rehome the Lorenzi Tarot. Because, you know, as mentioned, I didn't feel drawn to it at all to work with it as a tarot deck. But now I don't even think about the repeating details in the deck, because now I'm looking at each image not as a tarot card, but as, you know, an individual image almost, or an intuitive, how can I explain it? I'm thinking about what it brings up in me in a different way to you know, as a poetry prompt. So it's been fantastic. I've really, really been enjoying it. anyway, so that's why I made this journal, and that's what I've been using for this practice. That was a really long story. Anyway, so that just goes to show me again that, you know, I need to be a bit more patient and to, you know, not be in any rush to rehome my decks, which I've mentioned I'm not usually in any kind of rush to rehome my decks, but just the Lorenzi Tarot. I had a couple of others on my list there. I just felt suddenly a need to, you know, rehome them, resell them, and I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I waited, slowed down, and tried to look at them in a different way. And that's a really great lesson. I feel that, you know, it's what we speak about with modifying decks as well. That, you know, modifying decks so that they work for you is also a really great way. So yeah, so that was that practice. I have another new practice as well that I'm going to show you in just a second. Just moving away from tarot for a wee second. This is another journal that I've made this month. I'm not going to show you what's in it, but this is a very special journal to me. I made a witch's ladder here, and these things, there's some colour magic involved here, and there's a clear quartz here, there's some bells. This was a second-hand brooch that I purchased, and a tassel that I made, and I made it out of, you know, what I usually do, my scrap paper and some shopping pages, shopping bag pages and things like that. And yeah, I love it. So I've been really, you know, getting into the creative side of my practice this month. This was another journal that I've made. This was made yesterday, and I really wanted to make a journal for like all my creative ideas that I have. I tend to, or I had previously, been just like writing my random ideas on random piece of paper, and I kid you not, I had random piece of paper all over my apartment. I'm like, oh, where did that idea go? Where's that gone? I couldn't find anything. So I decided just to make a dead basic, you know, simple as you like journal to hold all my creative ideas, instead of having them, you know, dotted all around the place. And I used some masking tape to, you know, to create bigger pages, and it's, you know, it's supposed to be simple. You know, it's not supposed to be pretty particularly. It's supposed to be looking a bit rustic and a bit, you know, what's the word, dog-eared. This is the inside. I used some decoupage and some acrylic paint and some masking tape, and I just used some stencils. This was also a decoupaged skull that I've added on there, and just, you know, random splodges of paint and some oil pastels, and I just really like it. I just really like it. And it's not supposed to be, you know, some super duper fantastic masterpiece. You know, it's just feeds my soul and fills my cup, and now I can, you know, have somewhere to put all my ideas. So that's that one. Yes, speaking of ideas and creating things, this is what I was doing last night. I've been really trying to keep up with my crafting and creating. I've been making some paper beads. Hoping you can see those. I'm going to be adding these to the journals I've been making, and I thought these are a great way if you're a witch, beginner witch, etc., etc., of writing intentions. My plan is to write intentions on these pieces of paper before rolling them up to make them into beads, and adding them to specific journals. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense, does it? It makes sense in my brain, but saying it out loud didn't make any sense at all. This I just found a really simple tutorial on YouTube. If I can find it, I will link it in the down bar for you. But yeah, so those are my first. They will definitely not be my last beads. I'm going to be adding them to like the tassel that I did on. Let's just grab this journal again. I'm going to be doing this very similar to what I did here on my other journals. So yes, that's that one. My next creative project and practice that fed my soul this month was this book. Now, I did a lot of thrifting this month. I was really lucky, actually. I think I did 4 thrifting trips this month, which I'm most impressed about. This is the Treasure Island. I live in a different country oh sorry, I don't live in England anymore. I live in a non-English speaking country. But for once, I actually found a book in English. And the paper in this book was absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you can see this. It's like, it looks like it's been hand cut. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just trying to get rid of the cat hair. There's so much cat hair here. FYI, I have 2 cats. Although you'd think I've got 20 cats by the amount of cat hair that there is all over the place. Anyway, yeah, so this looks like a hand-cut book. Anyway, the paper was fantastic. It's like really thick, and I thought this would make a really great altered book project or journal. Anyway, so I was sitting here one night, a couple of days ago actually, and I got the bee in my bonnet that I wanted to, with the thought of the whole poetry theme in mind, I wanted to use this book to find some poetry prompts in here as well. I'm going to take that out because I'm going to explain in a second. So I started gessoing the page and I found my text, and my plan is that I'm going to use this as a prompt for poetry in this book, or possibly artwork. I haven't decided. I'm going to let my creative juices flow and just go with it wherever it takes me. Anyway, so I found this. Treasure is ticklish. And then I did another, I stuck these 2 pages together, and I found, let's have a look here. I found another page which I gessoed, and I saved the text. Give me the key. I hunted forth the jingle of gold. And then I did another one the same night, and that was smell the sea, breathing, wandering, a kind of love song. Follow the sea slowly. And then the next day, so I kind of put that aside on my lounge table, and I was thinking, you know, I'm really looking forward to that, doing that, you know, to adding that to my practice, and to, you know, see where those pages lead me, poetry wise and artwork wise. And then the next day I had a new deck that came in, which I'm going to show you in my May deck choice video. And I'm going to put the name on the screen because I can't remember the name of the deck that I'm going to show you. However, I drew this card, and I was playing with pairs whilst I was looking at, once I'd looked through this deck, I was playing with pairs to see which decks it would pair nicely with. And I was using the Venetian Tarot, which is actually a deck that I use for ancestral work. And I'm going to explain a bit more about the reason I purchased this deck in my May deck choices and intentions video. But what I'm just going to say is that it suddenly occurred to me, obviously, you know, I was pairing the 2, and these 2 just came up. And it suddenly occurred to me that the dragon was holding a treasure chest. And if you look at this knight, the Knight of Pentacles, he looks like he's also holding a little chest in his hand there, which I thought was really, really interesting, with the fact that the night before, and let's just go to that first page, I had come upon these words. I just thought it was really, really interesting. Is it just me? Or just me? Anyway, after I pulled the dragon card, I think it was the next day, I was using the Tarot of the She deck, and several dragons come from in that reading for me as well, and that deck. So I don't know where it's going, I can't tell you, but I just thought it was a really interesting, you know, synchronicity, and I do like synchronicities. So the whole treasure chest I find very interesting. I'm going to go more into those decks in my May deck choices and intentions video, as mentioned. So that's that one. My last project, oh actually I'm going to show you one thing actually, and speaking about the whole treasure thing, I was doing an altered book page. I'm going to do an altered book project update video as well, so keep your eyes out for that. But in conjunction with the page that said treasure is ticklish, and the dragon with the treasure chest and the gentleman with the treasure chest, I decided to redo a page in my altered book project because I didn't like it. And the prompt was, oh, what was the prompt? I can't remember, it was so long ago. The prompt was something about glittering or sparkling. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I can't think what the prompt was, but it was something about glitter or sparkle, and you could do whatever on that page. And I had completed this page and I hated it, so I decided to do a new page. And you know, I started adding some gems and some sequins, and this is the card from the extra card that came out from this deck. And I really like the back of this, so I popped that there. This page isn't finished yet. And this suddenly occurred to me that this looks like a treasure chest. And the gems that are flowing out of the treasure chest. And I found that really interesting as well. So that to me was a definite synchronicity. And, you know, I didn't intend to make this into a treasure chest when I was doing this page at all. But I just found that really, really interesting. So we had the prompts, treasure is ticklish. We've got the dragon with the treasure chest. We've got the gentleman with the little treasure chest. And now we've got the page that I had no intention of making into a treasure chest. But that's just, you know, occurred to me once I'd made it. I was like, oh, you know, I closed the book and I went back to it a little while later, and I was like, oh, that looks like a treasure chest. Oh, that's weird. What a coincidence. So I thought that was really interesting as well. Anyway, so this is my altered book project. It's getting heavier and heavier by the week. I'm going to do an update. Keep your eyes out for that. And yeah, I think we're pretty much to the end. I've read one book this month. That was this one, The Romance of Fairy Melusina. I've always felt, well, you know, since my practice started and my ancestral research started, I felt really drawn to Melusine. And I decided to read this book this month. So that's been really, really interesting. I've been feeling that, I've been feeling some synchronicities concerning Melusina, which I'm going to go into in another video. But this was a really interesting book to read. There are a few books on my list to read obviously next month, but I will go into those in another video. So, you know, I feel like I've been quite busy this month, I have to say. I've been really happy that I've been keeping up with my altered book project, with the Deacon Walk, and with my creative arts and crafty path I wanted to, you know, focus on more this year in my practice. So yeah, that felt like a really long video. I'm so sorry. What say you? What decks have you been working with this month? Let me know. Are you a weaver? Have you been doing the monthly medicine? If you have, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what decks you used for it. I'd be really interested. If you have any of these decks and you pair them with anything else that I haven't been pairing them with, please let me know. I'd really like to know, because I'm totally nosy like that. Otherwise, I'm going to thank you so much for watching, apologise for the rambly video, and wish you a lovely morning, afternoon, and evening. Toodaloo.